Lots of blue skies from what I can see down here anyways. It'll probably look a lot better once I fly the drone up. And with that in mind, what did I read today? This is kind of a follow-up from yesterday from what I read and how the US, they wanted to change rules, for example, for beyond visual line of sight drone flights and supersonic flights in general. And then how about this one where people are reacting to it differently in other countries? This one here says unleashing American drone dominance. A lot of places like the US are trying to get ahead in the drone space because currently places like China are in the lead. And it says here, the United States must accelerate the safe commercialization of drone technologies and fully integrate UAS into the national airspace system. The time has come to accelerate testing and to enable routine drone operations, scale up domestic production, and expand the export of trusted American manufactured drone technologies to global markets. Building a strong and secure domestic drone sector is vital to reducing reliance on foreign sources, strengthening critical supply chains, and ensuring that the benefits of this technology are delivered to the American people. It makes me wonder how that would work in terms of exporting their drone tech elsewhere if they only want to use their own drones, for example, like the American-made ones, just for security reasons and all that, which is understandable. Why would someone like, let's just say China, for example, use their drones? Then I guess you could argue they're going to ban each other, which makes sense in that regards. There were some interesting details, for example, like here it says, within 120 days of the date of this order, the Secretary of Transportation, acting through the administrator of the FAA, shall initiate the deployment of artificial intelligence tools to assist and expedite the review of UAS waiver applications under 14 CFR Part 107. These AI tools shall support performance and risk-based evaluation of proposed operations, identify materially similar precedents, and recommend consistent mitigation measures, assist the FAA in identifying categories of operations with sufficient safety data or recurring approval patterns that may warrant further rulemaking to eliminate the need for individualized waivers, and be used in accordance with guidance on federal use of AI as detailed in Office of Management and Budget Memorandum M2521. So it's kind of interesting as it sounds like they're trying to reduce the bureaucracy in terms of getting waivers and flying drones and all that. And at the same time, it makes you wonder if AI is ready for stuff like this too, because in a lot of cases, it's just not there yet. It hallucinates many times in terms of doing research. I remember reading a story recently, actually, there was various court cases where lawyers use AI and it just completely made up, I guess, the cases for whatever reason. So is it reliable enough yet to be used in these ways? Of course, if you're in places like China, for example, the reaction would be completely different. Like this one here says, Donald Trump moves to block foreign drone makers from selling new models in US. Major Chinese firms like DJI and Autel Robotics potentially squeeze out of America's commercial market under executive orders. US President Donald Trump has signed executive orders meant to rebuild America's drone industry, tightening aerospace security and boost military readiness, potentially squeezing Chinese manufacturers like DJI and Autel Robotics out of the market. Immediate action is needed to ensure American sovereignty over its skies, Trump stated in one of the orders, warning that foreign-made drones were endangering the public and compromising critical infrastructure. The orders also call for federal investment in US drone production to rebuild a domestic sector that has been eclipsed by Chinese competition. And they go over all those stories you've read before, where the accusations are how DJI drones, they, let's just say, quote, phone home, they take personal information and all that, and they argue that's never been proven. But either way, that could mean the end of, let's just say, DJI drones in the US as well. You already got kind of a taste of it with the DJI Mavic 4 Pro, where it's being sold, to my knowledge, in a lot of places, but you have to pay a ridiculous fee in terms of an extra expense. Although in terms of drone growth, this was kind of interesting, as apparently in China, they're saying there's more demands for people to be able to manage drone swarms per se. I guess in this case, it's more for things like drone light shows. It says here, China's thriving low-altitude economy sparks strong demand for drone swarm planners. China's booming low-altitude economy has sparked strong demand for talent capable of controlling large-scale drone light shows, as professionals must combine skills in algorithms, 3D modeling, art, and more. At a recent spectacular drone light show staged by a low-altitude flight team based in Chengdu, southwest China's Sichuan province, where the low-altitude economy is rapidly expanding, an incredible number of 4,000 drones moved in perfect synchronization. guided by just one pilot known as the drone swarm planner. These experts choreograph drones like dancers in the sky, creating intricate and dynamic visual effects. According to the Civil Aviation Authority, China's low-altitude economy is expected to reach 3.5 trillion yuan by 2035, fueling a surge in demand for skilled drone operators. At a national press briefing in October 2024, officials reported a shortage of 1 million drone operators nationwide. Wow, that much of a shortage in that regard? I would think too, in this case, since it's technical and creative, this is the type of stuff that would be good for a child to explore. Can you imagine them just going outside, experimenting with drone light shows, getting familiar with it, and then them gradually, for example, trying to do bigger and bigger things? I mean, that's how usually people would evolve in this way, but here anyways, they would classify so many drones as a huge manned aircraft. It doesn't matter how small it is, it will be illegal in so many places, so how would you actually get practice out of that in that regard? It just discourages people, in my opinion, from trying to do it. And what was going on in the US today? Apparently there were huge protests and riots, and the National Guard had to be called in. Like this one here says, Trump deploys National Guard as Los Angeles protests against immigration agents continue. President Donald Trump's administration said it would deploy 2,000 National Guard troops on Saturday as federal agents in Los Angeles faced off against a few hundred demonstrators during a second day of protests following immigration raids. Well, it's kind of interesting actually when you read the release from the Los Angeles Police Department. It says, today demonstrations across the city of Los Angeles remain peaceful, and we commend all those who exercise their First Amendment rights responsibly. The Los Angeles Police Department appreciates the cooperation of organizers, participants, and community partners who help ensure public safety throughout the day. Yeah, it doesn't look like the case when you look at all the videos and so forth. People throwing things, for example, and specifically, it looked like some of them were trying to attack like the officials and all that. A statement reminds me of that story in the US where during all that Black Lives Matter riots, where there were these reporters from CNN, I believe. In the background, you can see there's like fire and stuff everywhere. And the guy's reporting, oh yeah, it remains mostly peaceful. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's kind of what it makes me think of here anyways when I look at all the footage. Apparently for some officials, like it says here for Gavin Newsom, he was saying this situation was perfectly fine overall, and bringing in, let's just say, the National Guard is more for show, like it's not necessary. But again, when you look at the video and stuff like that, it seems like it's pretty violent and out of control. Some people were saying this was a civil war, I guess, in the country, and then the other argument is it's not a quote civil war because a lot of those people that's protesting there, that's what they say anyways, they're illegal immigrants or undocumented people, illegal aliens, whatever you want to say, not actual US citizens, like most of them anyways, that's the claim. But yeah, what's going on there, huh? That's kind of crazy. All right, see you guys later.